sorry. We continue the story with
Yeah,
them floating up the stairs. Yep.
yeah. When they, so anyway, with them, you know, they directed everybody, and as I was saying, when he turned to me, when I went to pick up my screaming child, and he said, you know, he thought I was picking her up because I didn't want him near her, and his feelings were hurt. He said, and he turned, he looked at me, he said, I'd never hurt her. And I looked at him and I said, I know, but I'm her mother, and she's my child, and she's screaming, so I need to pick her up. And he went, oh, like he didn't get it, you know. He didn't get the, you know, that mothers have to pick up their screaming children. And he said, oh, and he just, then he looked, turned and put his hand on her forehead, and she went to sleep. She lay down, you know, she didn't plop back on the bed because she was sitting up reaching her hands toward me. Just put his hands on her forehead, and she went down gently and just went right to sleep. And he looked back at me and like pleased with himself, and I said, okay. And then I was led into the bedroom where I was with my sister. And meanwhile, she's talking to, now two of them are talking to her. And the one that was actually with me went over to her, and this other one I didn't recognize. The whole weird thing about this is the guy that I was talking to in the room with my daughter, I knew him. I don't know how, but I knew him. I recognized him. And this wasn't the tall grade. These were the little ones. And
Workers?
the workers, yeah. And so I recognized all of them except for one. The one that came over to work on me. And, you know, told me to lay down on the bed. And he was doing like an exam or something. And he had this rod, like a gold rod. And when he used it, even though he's holding it in his hand, it looked like it was spinning, even though he was holding it. You know?
Spinning around the axis?
Yeah, spinning around like this.
Staying in place, or just really spinning around in the air, like changing the axis? Did the axis change in it, or just the axis was immobilized and the rod was spinning around its axis?
No, this was different. This was, you know how you hold, it was about the length of this, and he had it like in his hand, and the inside of it appeared to be rotating. Okay?
Inside
the rod.
of the rod?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
But the thing is, he was holding on to it.
Okay.
So that's impossible, because if he was holding it, it looked like the whole thing was rotating in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So when he was started at my feet, and he's going up my body with this, and meanwhile I'm hearing my sister talk, but when I turn to look, I hear them talk. Now, real like words, and it's in English, but I noticed when I turned my head toward the being that I'm with, I hear him. So you have to be looking at them to hear them.
Yep.
And I found that real interesting, because I've never heard anybody mention that. Even though it is telepathic, you hear them. You actually hear them with your ears. Their mouths aren't moving, and you're actually hearing sound. That is odd. But every time they were talking about me. They were asking my sister all about the investigator and how I was doing. Was I mentally okay? How I was handling all this. They were very concerned about my emotional state. They wanted to know what this investigator was up to. Was he trustworthy? All this stuff. And then this being that was working on me, because I kept sitting up, was getting very frustrated. And I could feel his frustration, and he kept saying, he kept looking at me going, lay back, stay down. And I said, yeah, but they're talking about me. And he goes, stop being so nosy. Imagine saying that. And he was nervous, like he wasn't used to doing this. And they had a certain amount of time they had to get in and out. My sister lived in the city. So this thing, the ship that came in was parked right above in the city, obviously, so.
Did your sister have experiences all the life?
We found an implant on her stomach once that every time you try to take it out, the little wire was sticking out. And we tried to get it out of her, and it kept moving. She went to the doctors, and he said, I don't know what it is, leave it alone. And we couldn't figure it out. But you could see a wire and some little device at the end of it, right through the skin. And I had tweezers, and I was trying to pull at it, and it would move.
Yeah, in one of the books they say, don't move, you can kill a person by removing the implant.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's nice. It's nice you didn't succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anyway, excuse me. The other being that initially would talk to me when I was with my daughter came over to me with the other one after they laid my sister down, and they said they wanted me to move, and they said I had to make contact with somebody out here or something where I moved to. Anyway, but the biggest thing was don't get the MRI.
Uh-huh.
They were so adamant about that. They said that it was dangerous. That I don't understand. I couldn't understand why. Either they didn't want to be found out, but they were so adamant about not getting the MRI. And they said they would take care of everything. Well, the next day I get a call from the investigator, and he said the guy that was supposed to do the MRI called him up and canceled, would not give a reason, wouldn't talk to him on the phone, just said he couldn't do it. I can't do it. That's it. I just can't do it. That was strange, you know. So then the other thing that was real important about this visit was they told me that the regressions were wrong. That he was creating.
That's